Taken in the Night, a story of the disappeared. On the 20th of March, 1976, I was a widow with 3 sons living in Argentina. The events of that spring night will forever be etched in my memories. It was on that night, at around 2 o'clock in the morning, when 20 armed men broke into my home. 3 of the men trained their pistols on myself and my 2 young sons, as the others set about the house. The men tore my home apart, opening cupboards and drawers, turning over furniture. They took everything of any value, the few things of worth that we or any normal working-class family would have in their home. Some sentimental, others not, but they took it all. As they picked through the entirety of my family's belongings, the looters moved towards my oldest son in the next room. I remember it as if it were yesterday. He was sitting on the bed, trying to get dressed, when one shouted, "There's one here!" My heart fell as 4 of the men rushed in and roughly pulled him into what remained of our living space, where my 2 sons and myself stood at gunpoint. They asked only if he was Hector Gomez, then said he had to go with them. "Who are you?" I screamed. "We are the security forces," one answered sharply. Some were in civilian clothes, but most wore combat boots. Underneath the clothing I could see army fatigues and green bulletproof vests. It was the colors of the army, the Argentine military. I dared ask, "But why?" "We've come to take him away for questioning," is all they replied. I began to sob as I tried to reason with this man who I thought to be the leader of the others. "My son has done nothing. He's not a criminal. Why have you come in like this, frightening the children with guns pointed at everyone? 20 armed men for a child of 21, an old woman like me, and 2 young children. Why?" I cried in desperation as I ran for my son, now restrained and held at gunpoint. But I was no match for 1 man, let alone a room filled with 20, and was instantly thrown to the floor. That's when they took my son. The leader gave a signal, and at once the men began to load the loot onto vehicles, dragging Hector along with them. He was forced into a Ford Falcon waiting outside, and I never saw him again. I prayed for Hector's return. As the weeks since his disappearance turned into months, I began looking for answers. I knocked on every door in the area, went to the police department and nearby churches, hoping someone could give me information on where they had taken my boy. No one had seen anything. No one knew anything. I wrote letters to military officials pleading Hector's innocence and safe return. I never received a response. My search for information led me to other mothers whose sons too had been taken in the dead of night. We shared a common goal that bonded us, and as the numbers of disappearances grew, the need for answers followed. At one point, a mother suggested, "Why don't we all go to the Plaza de Mayo? If we do this on our own, we will not get anything, but when we become a large group, the generals will have to meet with us," she continued, and I agreed. I can recall it well. We met at the Pirámide de Mayo, the pyramid that stood in the heart of the plaza. We had agreed before to wear white handkerchiefs on our heads, in the hopes that it would both unify and identify our cause. I brought with me a picture of my son, Hector. We began our meeting, standing together at first, but were soon warned by police of a law prohibiting groups of 3 or more people to stand together, so we began to walk. And every Thursday since then, more and more mothers joined me to walk at the plaza, carrying banners and photos of disappeared loved ones. They called us the Mothers of the Plaza de Mayo.